It's officially DC festival season, and we're super excited about this one coming up on May 18th. Africa on the Avenue is a celebration of the vibrant African immigrant community along Georgia Avenue Northwest. There's going to be interactive art installations, fashion shows, music, food, and local business stands. This one-day festival, organized by District Bridges' Lower Georgia Avenue Main Street program, truly has something for everyone. So I'll see you there on May 18th. Go to districtbridges.org to learn more. Today on CityCast DC, spring is a really special time in DC. Everybody's outside and looking for things to do. So I'm joined by CityCast producers Ash Durbin and Julia Karen to give you our guide for making the most out of May in DC. If you're a new listener, welcome. Maybe you'll find something you can do while listening to our backlog of CityCast DC episodes, deep dives into everything, from underrated restaurants to city government scandals. Oh, and after the interview, our sponsor, the local nonprofit District Bridges, has a May event of their own to share with you. So stick around to learn more about the Georgia Avenue Community Festival coming up. Today's Tuesday, April 30th. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Julia, Ash, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Bridget.
Hey, Bridget.
So we were talking off mic about how even though today doesn't feel like glorious, temperate spring weather, spring is here, it is May, and I'm kind of looking forward to having that like nice, summery, spring, DC, good weather vibe. What are you all thinking?
Oh, I am here for shorts. I am here for flip-flops. I am here to just not melt into the ground kind of just yet. You know, when it gets to like June and July and you feel like you're swimming once you walk outside, May is good for that kind of thing. It's like right in the in-between. The vibes are good. I'm into it.
Totally. I feel like once you hit May, instead of in April where it's like, it'll be a beautiful day or it'll be cold, now it's like, it'll be a beautiful day or it's hot as Hades.
Yeah.
So, but I also am a humidity enjoyer. So
You like humidity?
it feels like a warm hug. And a crazy, maybe it's me coping, having been here my whole life, but part of me does like the humidity.
You know who else likes the humidity?
Michael Schaefer.
Michael Schaefer. I was just going to say, we had a whole argument about this in an episode.
No, I like it. It just feels so nice sometimes.
So while we're all out, maybe enjoying the humidity, what are some things going on in May that you all are looking forward to?
Ooh, okay. So I feel like we need categories, right? Like, are there events that you're excited about? Are there vibes you're excited about? And do you have like a tip or a trick, you know?
Ooh, let's start with vibes. Like,
ooh, okay.
What are just the vibes that you're hoping to cultivate this May?
Okay. So for me, May is peak blanket season. What do I mean by that? You grab a blanket from inside your house. You take it outside. You lay it on the ground because now the pollen is mostly gone. And you read, or you have a drink, or you're watching a movie with friends, like at an outdoor movie kind of thing. Like That is what I think for vibes. There's a little free library across from where I am. So I just take a blanket from my apartment. I walk down my stairs. I grab a book that I've never read before. And I just sit in the front yard, basically, of my apartment complex on a blanket. And I read. Maybe I have a bevy or two. That's the vibes I'm going after.
And you mentioned the outdoor movies. I will shout out that the Noma Outdoor Movie Series has National Treasure on May 8th.
Oh,
iconic.
Do you like terrible good movies with Nicolas Cage?
Love.
Might have to hit that one.
And then you and your friends can plot to steal the Declaration of Independence on the way home.
Exactly. My vibes in May, this might be a stretch for a vibe, but smoked meats are my vibe.
Ooh, okay. Explain.
Pushing back on smoked meats being a vibe that one can cultivate. But okay, but keep going.
Hear me out. You know, it's getting closer to summer. You're outside. You have to, the smoker lives outside. You're not really smoking meats in the wintertime.
That's true.
So it's prime barbecue season.
Ooh, okay.
I'm looking to head to 250 Barbecue in Hydesville location because it also, the trail there is the Anacostia Trail, which is my favorite bike trail in DC. 45 minutes from Hill East, not bad at all. Get a pump on, you know, sweat it out, and then you reward yourself at the end with some insane brisket and some mac and cheese and some, you know, elote with hot Cheeto dust on it. That's, to me, is like so summery, but May is perfect for it because you can find those days where it's not like sweltering. We'll still have a couple of those. So it really like lends itself to the bike ride. And yeah, Anacostia Trail, I feel like super slept on as a bike path.
I'm with the both of you in terms of the vibe. I was out on a long bike ride yesterday, and I couldn't believe how many people were out just kicking it. So I would take the two vibes, the smoked meat vibe and the blanket vibe, and smush them together and just say, like, it is peak kicking it on a blanket vibe. When if you go for a walk in the park, you see big groups where it's like, oh wow, they have a blanket. Somebody brought a hammock. Like they've got all these foods. Like
Yep.
it is that like that's the vibe that I'm going for this month.
Nice. We should all kick it together. We can all find
Exactly.
a blanket large enough for all three of us.
Find a food truck with smoked meats and just
Yes.
post out right out front.
Truly, why would anybody do anything that's not kicking it? It's
Honestly,
like,
it's also peak time to do it because like once you get to June and July, like you feel like you're melting into the ground. April, it's too cold. May is like every day is an opportunity to just chill. It's perfect.
peak chill vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're chilling, you're on a blanket, the vibes are good. What if you're kicking it up a notch into actual events? So you're buying a ticket or you're making a plan to go somewhere that is not just sitting on a blanket eating smoked meat. What are you doing?
I have one that feels so crazy that I've never heard of this. But on Saturday, May 4th, so coming up, 2 to 5 p.m. at the wharf is the running of the Chihuahuas.
Yes, I've heard about this.
Oh my days. It's just a race of Chihuahuas. There's a adoptable pet parade. There's a dog costume contest. I controversially really like Chihuahuas, like kind of my ideal dog vibe. And it's sponsored by Pacifico, which is also like one of the great summer beers for me.
True.
So I might have to hit that and maybe come home with a Chihuahua. We'll see what happens.
Ash is turning his event into an adoption event. That's where we're
Yes.
going with this.
The winning Chihuahua, I will take home.
Like
my God.
hold it above your head like a trophy.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Oh my God.
I love Chihuahuas.
I hate them. I think dogs under like 10 pounds should be illegal. I can't.
No,
I
I
can't.
need to be
You-
able to hold it and carry it around and put it on my shoulder.
I like a bigger dog, man. I like one that like jumps on you and like you kind of get knocked over.
Julia,
know.
you're going to anger the community of small dog people in our listenership.
I know,
Small
right?
dog people are like a specific breed of folk. You're going to anger them all.
I will not apologize for speaking my truth. I love that idea. Also, because the wharf, like, how do they race on it? Do they shut down the street? Like, where on the wharf is this happening?
So it takes place on the district pier. There's also a 360 pet photo booth there.
Oh my God.
And there's a giant
Oh.
screen. So I guess there's so many people there where like you might not be able to see it and you'll have to watch it on the big screen, which is insane.
I love that.
That's so cute. Julia, that's going to be hard to beat.
Okay. So, in the theme of basically sporting events, I think of May as the start of like women's pro sports in DC. That is what I'm after. So, like the Mystics startup, they're slated to be pretty solid this year. The Washington Spirit, your 2021 NWSL champions, they play a couple of home games. Fabulous atmosphere, cheaper tickets than the men's teams, also sneakily better than the men's teams in some regards. The Mystics play at the Entertainment and Sports Arena across the river. So maybe you like walk along the river pregame, you grab a brewski or something, you take the metro over, you go in, and you can like, because the tickets are cheaper, you can sit basically courtside for almost nothing. It is absurd. For the Spirit games, tickets are like $15 to $20. The supporter section is where you want to be, although it's standing room only. So like if you're someone who doesn't want to stand for like 45 minutes at a time,
Or not get covered in beer when they score. Yeah.
that too, I would go and find like an actual seat. They do have those, but the supporter section is great. Like you're standing, you're cheering the whole time, you're in the sun. The quality of soccer is really high.
Totally.
Go scope out a couple home games. Go like with your friends. It's a good way to just grab some buddies and do an event for relatively cheaply. I'm a big fan.
Audi Field this time of year too. And I feel like a lot of the games are like close to sunset time.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be
Beautiful.
like watching the game, but you also get a sunset. Also, they have the overlooking bar at Audi Field. So it's like, one, you can't really get a bad seat at Audi Field, but if something crazy happens and you don't love your seat, you can literally just go stand at the bar and watch
Yes.
the game from there, which is
Yes.
really fun too.
Yeah. The Mystics regular season starts on May 14th. So like smack dab in the middle of the month. The Washington Spirit have already started, but I will say they have a couple of set events coming up. May 10th, they have their salute to service against Angel City FC. And this one, since we were talking about Dalgos not even 2 seconds ago, Friday, May 24th is Pitchside Pups against Seattle Reign. So bring your Chihuahua, bring your Great Dane, let them frolic, and watch some soccer. It'll be great. I'm into
bringing
it.
my award-winning Chihuahua.
Yes, bring the award-winning Chihuahua.
Everybody knows that getting that perfect Mother's Day gift is basically impossible, but we promise Mom will love this one. The Capitol Hill Restoration Society House and Garden Tour is back this Mother's Day weekend on May 11th and May 12th. Tour 9 elaborate homes and gardens and 3 historic buildings on Capitol Hill that you can't normally enter. And if you can't make it, check out the Capitol Hill Restoration Society's other events like walking tours and monthly preservation cafes. You can buy tickets for the Mother's Day House and Garden Tour on Eventbrite, and be sure to follow CHRS on Facebook and Instagram at Capitol Hill Restoration DC.
All right, Bridget, what are you shilling out money for during this time of month?
I'm almost like hesitant to talk about this because it's sort of like my thing that I've been enjoying for years. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like it's less fun if there's more people, but
so you're giving it away. You're giving away an industry secret.
I wouldn't call it an industry secret,
Okay.
but I'm putting y'all on my thing that I gatekeep a tiny bit, which is that one of my favorite spots to see music in the city, Flash, their legendary rooftop summer series is coming back in May. This is Sundown, and it's by the collective New Androids. And the reason why it's called Sundown is it's on their rooftop. You go during the day. It's a day party. You dance, you have drinks, you hear music. The music is always great. And they have this like very cool retractable roof. And so once the sun sets, it finally gets a little bit cooler. And here's how y'all know I am an old, because it starts at 4 and it's over by 9. You are home by 9:30.
Listen.
So you feel like you've had a whole night out, but you're like home by 9:30.
Let me be abundantly clear about this. I am so for that. Like I'm at the point, like I'm 31. I'm at the point where I'm starting to feel like if I'm out past like 10:30, my body just starts to be like, what are you doing? I have given up. This sounds like, yes, if you want to go out and you want to have a beer and you want to listen to good music, but you also like want to be home at a reasonable hour and you have an early bedtime, I'm in. I'm so in.
Yes. One of my favorite memories from a couple summers ago was going to Sundown at Flash, having an amazing time, and then going home and grilling sausages on my roof. So it was really a combination of all the things.
Smoked meats return.
I will say one thing about Flash, though, is they do sell out. I think their opening rooftop event on May 4th is already sold out, I think. They sometimes have tickets at the door. It can get a little bit crowded, which is why I was like, oh, do I want to tell people about it? But it is a very good time. I totally vouch for it.
I love Flash. Also, it's like the best sound system in DC, I found.
Like, I think it's the best in DC.
It sounds incredible every time.
I don't want to like put anybody on blast, but like I'm a music person. I go to a lot of places. There are places in DC that are charging double what you would pay at Flash that have the most garbage sound systems. It does not matter where you are standing. The sound system is garbage to the point where it's like it's better to just listen to it at home at a certain point.
Yes. I mean, you're talking to two producers. We know good audio when we hear it, right? That's the whole thing.
I take audio very seriously.
Exactly.
One of my favorite DJs that I've seen at Flash, LTJ Bukum.
Oh, yes.
UK drum and bass vibes, May 9th. So I may see you there for that one.
You'll have the pup under one arm and a smoked brisket under the other.
I'm imagining like a Chihuahua with like those noise canceling headphones.
Oh my
on.
God.
Like that babies wear at concerts.
I'm into it.
Can I say one thing about Flash is that they have a pretty strict no cameras, no phones out on the dance floor policy. And I see people who are not abiding by that often, and it's not really that cool. So just remember that if you go, that like
just vibe out.
Live in the moment.
Live in the moment and vibe out.
All right. So obviously there's stuff you got to pay for. There's vibes you're feeling. Do you have any tips or tricks for May generally that you're like, ooh, this is the time to do whatever? Or like, what are you thinking about when it comes to May in terms of tips and tricks?
I have 2. I think May is the time for taking a walk and seeing where the day takes you. Don't have plans, like see who you bump into, say yes to where the day takes you. I think May is the perfect time for that in DC. I would also say buy a hammock. Be that person, that person that you are jealous of in Rock Creek Park who has a hammock and you're like, wow, that guy's got a hammock set up. He looks pretty vibing out in that hammock. That could be you. Be the person who has the hammock.
I'm literally looking at the hammock I got in college like years ago. It's sitting here like fate right in front of me in my basement right now.
Nice. All right. So mine, I will tell you all up front. This is a wildly unsexy tip, but it is something that everyone should do because I feel like everyone does a deep spring clean. Clean your air conditioning filters. I know that it's not like going to Flash and like balling out or like sitting like on the grass and just reading a book. Not sexy at all, but I have window units. So May comes around and I take out that filter and I see all the pollen it has collected over the course of the spring. You just rinse it with warm soapy water and you let it dry and you stick it back in. If you have a real like HVAC system, I don't know if you guys do or don't, you actually probably need to like get this inspected by a professional and make sure your air ducts are clear because you would be shocked by the stuff that you're breathing in. You would be disturbed.
Oh, many years ago when I was living in like essentially a slum, there was an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease because because of a really dirty, uncleaned air conditioner unit or air conditioning system for the building. So yeah, there was a literal breakout of Legionnaire's disease in my building.
And by the way, like if you're someone who's like, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing when it comes to like anything HVAC, DC's sustainable energy sector through the Department of Energy has an entire website, a whole website. If you need to like retrofit your home with things like heating and cooling, how to replace broken heating or cooling appliances. I know it's like not like the nicest or most interesting thing on planet Earth, but it is important because as we know, DC gets gross. And if your AC fails in May, it's going to fail in June and July and August, and you don't want that. So make sure your AC is up to date. That's my tip and trick.
My tip, iced coffee season. I mean, for most, it's probably started like a month ago.
It's year
round. Iced coffee season is
me.
year round, excuse you. Yeah.
Well, as someone who enjoys a hot drink and maybe, I stretch it a little longer, this year I'm switching from iced coffee cold brew to solely espresso tonic.
Ooh.
Way more summery. I feel like maybe like a year or two ago, it was like something that you'd see like every once in a while, like a hip coffee shop. But now kind of like everywhere they have them. And just so much more refreshing, almost giving mocktail vibes a little bit, but also giving you like, the caffeine rush that you need. My favorite one is at Pluma outside Union Market. They do it with a little dehydrated orange in there. You get a little citrus. We had some at Ellie the other day. Aslan, Vigilante, if you're taking my advice to go to Hydesville and get barbecue, if you need a little energy before you turn around, hit Vigilante Coffee. They do a great espresso tonic too. So that's my switch it up. Iced coffee's out. Espresso tonic is in.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Coffee, almost cocktail in the morning. Also with the quinine, you're fighting off that malaria. You're getting a real win-win over here now that the mosquitoes are about to come out.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, Julia, Ash, thanks so much for being here. I will see you and that prize-winning Chihuahua a little later.
Yeah. Thanks, Bridget.
See you around, Bridget.
And listeners, don't go anywhere because in just a second, CityCast Interim Content Director Priyanka Tilve is sitting down with our sponsor, District Bridges, to talk about an annual festival that they're hosting this month to celebrate the African diaspora in DC.
Hey, I'm Priyanka Tove here with Shelley Walker, who organizes the Africa on the Avenue Festival for District Bridges. Shelley, as I understand it, this is an event that you guys put on every year as like a celebration, right, of the vibrant African immigrant community along Georgia Ave. What can folks expect at this year's Africa on the Avenue?
We are super excited for this year's Africa on the Avenue. We have so many different new activations going on this year. We have a hair wrapping station where we will have a demonstration on how to do an African hair wrap, and then folks can purchase one. After the demonstration, we'll have hula hooping and double dutching if you want to get your exercise on. The ropes are actually wrapped in African print fabric, as well as we'll have a super interactive map where you can touch the map and then find out about different African countries, as well as just learn a little bit more about the Lower Georgia Avenue African-owned businesses on the corridor. Along with that, of course, we'll have great music, we'll have good food, and just trying to make this a very family-friendly event. When folks come out, we want something for everyone to be able to participate in. So yeah, we're super excited this year about all the activations we have going on.
Yeah, that sounds really creative. I mean, I love how the city over the summer kind of transforms into all of these little like mini street festivals in general, but I've never heard anything quite like what you just described, like the double Dutch jump ropes being covered in unique fabric for this festival. That alone is such a cool concept. You mentioned Lower Georgia Avenue. What street area exactly are we talking about?
The event will be at Bruce Monroe Park,
Okay.
concentrated in the Parkview neighborhood, but the businesses will range from Berry Place going all the way up to Upshar. So it's a long corridor with lots of African immigrant-owned businesses. We're inviting everyone to come out. You can get to know these businesses. And even after the event, you feel free to leave. Folks to walk up and down Georgia Avenue to go support them as well.
That's really cool. What inspired District Bridges to start this in the first place?
I think what you started off with, just wanted to really highlight the different African immigrant businesses along the corridor. It's a very unique corridor. And I think with gentrification happening, just as well as new folks coming in, we want to make sure that we don't leave the legacy businesses behind. And we use this event to connect community with the businesses, bringing that foot traffic in, hosting large events like this. And very similar to what I just said, even after the event, we want to leave an impression that folks will come back to continue to support these businesses, tell their friends and families about these businesses. We encourage folks from all around DC to come, not just residents on Georgia Avenue, but anyone in the district that wants to be a part of community connection. So we're super excited that this was created for the immigrant community. We're super excited to continue this for the community and to continue to build that connection with community and small businesses.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a DC thing to celebrate the diversity of our city via a street festival like this. How can people get involved with District Bridges work, specifically the work that y'all do along Georgia Ave?
Sure. So there's so many ways that you can stay connected with District Bridges. We have large events like this throughout the year. I'm highlighting the one on Lower Georgia Avenue, but District Bridges has 6 main streets. Throughout the year, all 6 main streets host events. So that's a really good way to stay connected with us. If you want to figure out how you can learn about these events, I say let's move on to our website. On our website, we have different stories about all 6 main streets, all the work that all of the main street managers do, which is super important for the community, for the small businesses out there. And within those website pages, you can find all the events that we host individually throughout the year. And along with website and events, what would I be if I didn't mention social media? We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. So if you want to learn about the work that we're doing more professionally on LinkedIn, I say start there. We have different stories, different activations, different events we post all the time on our social media page. So I would say social media, event, and our website page are 3 big ways you can continue to follow us.
Basically, people would have to be crazy to not be able to find you, sounds like.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Shelly, thank you so much for being here. Again, the Africa on the Avenue Festival is happening on May 18th, right?
It is May 18th from 11 to 4 p.m.
Cool. At Bruce Monroe Park. Check out districtbridges.org to learn more. And that link is in our show notes for you as well. Thank you so much for listening.
That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. And we'll be back tomorrow morning with even more news from around the city. Talk to you then.